And you talk about a momentum shifter, and you talk about having that Lions mentality. When that line is ready to go, and they knew I was going to be ready to go, everybody was excited.
Without further ado, I want to introduce someone who is, and I know he's very humble, so he may not say this. I know he defers to one other running back when this is brought up, but the #1 NFL all-time leading rusher. That's something we can't argue against. 3-time Super Bowl champion. He is Dancing with the Stars champion, so he took his championness in one world and brought it to another world. He's the only running back to ever win a Super Bowl championship, NFL MVP award, and the NFL rushing crown, and the Super Bowl MVP award all in the same season. Today, we're going to talk about how the top 1% become that way. It is the one and only Emmitt Smith. So, Emmitt, I'm super excited to interview you because we talk a lot about the importance of vision. Yeah. And oftentimes when people see that, you became the #1 all-time leading rusher and all the, Super Bowls that you won and the championships that you won, they think it just came because you worked hard and you just kind of did some hard work here and then it just happened. But a lot of people don't know about the power of written goals in your life. So what power has written goals had on your life?
Well, first and foremost, even when you start talking about vision itself, I can take vision so many different ways because of the context in which we're describing it. I could take it from the standpoint of what God blessed me with, the skill set to do what I did on the football field, to see things on the football field that others could not see and process it as quickly as possible so I could take advantage of them being out of position. I can always go back to as a little kid sitting on the floor and watching the Dallas Cowboys play and seeing my favorite football team play and wanting to do something like they were doing. Always around just what you see, what you believe, and how you think you can activate on it. And do you have the skill set to actually do it? Because sometimes in my profession, you can have the desire, you can have the vision, but you might not have the skill set, but you may have the desire to go and work hard and develop other skill sets that can also take you places that this sport may not be able to take you to. So, but writing down my goals did not come into play until I was a freshman in high school, where my coach, Dwight Thomas, told our whole entire team, because he wanted to transform the entire school, wanted to transform the whole entire team. My school, prior to me getting there, we did not have a successful school record for about 2 or 3 years prior to that. And if you go back in history of Escambia High School, it was once called the Rebels. And so there was a lot of racial issues at the school as well. So when he got there, he wanted to transform everything, the entire culture, the entire school, the way we thought about things, the way we looked at things, the way we approached it. And his goal was not just to raise football players, he wanted to raise young men so they could become productive citizens. And so he said, it's only a dream until you write it down and then it becomes a goal. And so what he wanted us to do is to see ourselves being successful. Do we want to make it to the playoff, or do we just want to win the city championship? Do you want to just go to regional or district and go to regional and then go to sectional, or do you want to go all the way to state and win state? So we started jotting down our goals in terms of how we saw ourselves as a team. And before you knew it, we went 7-3 my freshman year. Didn't make the playoff, got our teeth kicked in by a couple schools in the local area. Then my sophomore year, we went all the way to state as the Class 3A state champions in one state. And then came back my junior year and went back to state again. And so we were back-to-back state champions in the state of Florida, which is not an easy state to become champions in, from a Class 3A and 4A. And that was the beginning of me jotting down my goals, and having that experience reaffirmed that goal setting is important. It's very important, because I think if you ever achieve something, you actually have to take the time to analyze what you did in the process of getting there. And versus saying, oh, I'm gonna do this again, I'm gonna do this again. Well, you could say that, but what led up to those things? What triggered, what transpired in your mindset to help you get there? That's the question that everyone must ask themselves. And so for me, it was that vision, of where I wanted to go. It was the goal setting of what I wanted to align with the vision. It was the work ethic and putting in those hours of training and reminding myself why I'm doing what I'm doing and what is my purpose. And all that led to other things.
Especially business now, you know, with what you're doing in real estate, which we'll get to towards the end. You know, I think one thing I wanted to kind of ask about, and it's so funny, the story of when someone picked up that piece of paper. I was watching the documentary on you, and on that piece of paper, it said lead rusher, team MVP, and Pro Bowl, right? And this is like before I think you even started your first game, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, it just goes to show that you carried that habit with you throughout your entire professional career. What I want to hit on is, you know, what we named today, we were just talking about momentum. And, you know, 1993, 1994, 1996, you know, very few and far between do teams dominate Super Bowls, you know, 3 Super Bowls in a 4-year time window, especially being in playoff droughts, you know, before you even came onto the team. So, you know, when we look at you, you know, and I know you all, and I have another question on this, on your leadership skills, on how you defer responsibility to the team and you always are thanking others for the success. But I do want to talk about being a momentum shifter, right? And I know you may not call yourself this, but when people see the games that you played where the momentum did shift, like when you were handed the ball 7 out of 8 plays and the whole game changed in that one Super Bowl, right? What is the actual experience of that unstoppable, like lion-like momentum where that focus is completely like a laser beam?
Well, for whole first half, we were sputtering as an offensive unit. And what most people may not realize, that Traeger went into that game with a slight concussion the week before. So he probably was playing, and probably shouldn't have been playing, but he did play, and he performed not at his peak. But, and Buffalo played better in the first half than they did in the previous Super Bowl. And the team utilized me in different ways in the first half. But at halftime, there was a complete shift in terms of what we were going to do. And Jimmy and Norv Turner, who was our head coach and offensive coordinator, came up to me and our offensive line and said, "Get ready. We're going to give you the football." And I could see the excitement in my offensive lineman's face, how excited they were that we was going to run the football, because we did not run the ball a whole lot in the first half for various reasons. I have no clue why. Maybe it was to fill out, maybe it was trying to fill out Buffalo, but we did not run the ball effectively. We did not run the ball a lot in the first half. And so coming out of the halftime, Buffalo made one mistake. They turned the ball over. James Washington picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown to tie the game up. They made a second mistake. They went 1, 2, 3 and out. So after they fumbled, James picked up and returned it for a touchdown. The momentum has shifted back to us. And then when they went 1, 2, 3 and out, we still had that momentum. And the first thing they wanted to do was run the football. And they called plays that I absolutely love. And we went downhill. And as you said, 7 out of 8 plays were running plays. And I scored on the 7th running play. And we threw the ball one time, and it was an incomplete pass, I believe. And so, but if you go back and look at that drive, you can see we was eating up yards. 7 here, 4 here, 8 here, 10 here, 4 here, and then on and on. Then by the 7th, it went 20. And you talk about a momentum shifter, and you talk about having that Lions mentality. When that line is ready to go, and they knew I was going to be ready to go, everybody was excited. And it just brought energy back into the room. And some teams have the tendency to do just that. When the game is not going your way or getting a little bit out of control, or you feel like you're losing a little bit of momentum, what we did was they shifted at times and came back to the running game and said, let's get this thing under control. And that was one way that we did it.
Unbelievable. So I do want to ask about your leadership skills. And this is really interesting. I was watching an interview with you, and they were, talking you up. You're a couple seasons in, and they're like, I think you're doing amazing. And then you immediately stop the interview and you're like, I don't think I'm doing amazing. Well, I'll think I'm doing amazing when the Cowboys has won a Super Bowl, right?
Correct.
And when you watch The Last Dance, the MJ documentary, he had that same epiphany where he was getting showered with all these compliments about his personal performance, and he wasn't happy about it because the team wasn't performing. So talk to us about that mindset shift from, I'm just going to rack up, my own stats versus I'm going to do what's best for the team.
Right. I think, to me, that is the difference between a championship mindset and a legendary mindset. Because the way I was raised, even through Dwight Thomas and prior to that, football is a team sport. No man or no woman becomes successful by themselves. It takes that village to come together and be on the same page. And no matter how successful you are, you can rush for 200 yards, you can generate $1 million a year, but if you go out and blow that same $1 million, it's really not success. The question is, are you trying to do it for yourself, or are you trying to raise up the whole organization? And for me, I learned quickly, even through high school, that I cannot do all this by myself. Yes, that sounds good, but man, what good is it to win a rushing title but lose a Super Bowl? What good is it to go out and rush for 200 yards but lose the game? So when I became the all-time leading rusher, I went further than any man has ever gone at that time. Yes, I scored a touchdown. Yes, I became the all-time leading rusher. But guess what? We lost the game. We lost the game. So how selfish do you feel when you're celebrating a selfish moment, your individual moment? The rest of my teammates probably at home like, damn, we messed that up. They could be like that. And here I am out here trying to have a good time with family and friends and everything else. But yet in the back of my mind, everybody else is happy, but I'm sad. I'm sad. And I'm like, I'm happy for everybody else, but I'm thinking about my teammates. I'm thinking about how we all felt, because we put in so much hard work and we were so dedicated for so long, and yet we couldn't pull it off. That's disappointing.